Hi, I'm Bryce Merkl Sasaki, and I'm here at Graph Connect Europe in London, and I have with me Dr. Andreas Weber, formerly the VP of Operations at Schleich, the toy manufacturer from Germany. So, Dr. Weber, talk to me about how you guys use Neo4j at Schleich.
Schleich uses Neo4j as a PDM system, as the basis for a PDM system. Together with Neo4j, we use structure as a framework to build the user interface. And the idea behind it is that we collect all the data being produced during manufacturing processes in the factories around the world, where Schleich gets his product from. And having that data directly in access, because you permanently get a lot of questions in terms of the product, what is in, is any dangerous thing in that product, and so on. And that's the reason for coming up with that concept and that system idea.
Yeah. Okay, great. And then why did you guys choose Neo4j?
Yeah, we started that project 3.5 years ago with another company, but it was a kind of capsulated software. And when I learned about Neo4j and structure, I realized that Neo is a cutting-edge database, a graph database, and that was interesting for me because I needed a platform with a lot of other companies developing viewers, analyzing tools, and so on. And that was not possible with the other software we used before. That was 1 year ago, roundabout, and then we decided to move all the data out from the old system and put it into Neo and structure. And we went live on November this last year.
Okay, good. What have been some of the most surprising or interesting moments since you guys have been using Neo4j?
It's pretty stable, it's pretty fast, that's quite well. Of course, we still have to improve something because the data model we transferred from the old system has some sins from the past, and we have to do a kind of refactoring to adapt it a little more to what Neo is famous for, let's say it like that, to really bring the best thing out of the system which we use right now. But for me, surprisingly was that the acceptance of the users was quite well. The user interface, it was fast, and we now use, or Schleich now uses that system not only in one department where we started with the QC department, they also use it on product management level, and especially the engineers, and the chemists, a very complicated group of people. They already use that system now.
Yeah. Okay, great. And then if you could take everything you know about Neo4j now and go back to when you first started using it, what would you do differently? Or what would you tell yourself to change?
I think if I had known that moving the old model one-to-one to Neo causes a refactoring, I would have said, no, well, please let us start from scratch again, remodel it again. That would have been, I guess, the better way. And this is something I recommend to any other company thinking about working with that concept. Take your time, think about your language you use in your company, and build up your own model. Of course, I guess 60, 70, 80% of the model is very similar to what another company has. If you talk about a bill of material, for example, bill of substance, is pretty the same. But there's always a 20, 30% on top, which is customer specific, which is company specific. The language, the wording, the user interface, and this is something which will be done in form of projects, but the core system, the 60, 70% core system, that should be one and the same in future projects.
Okay, great. Anything else you'd like to add or say, or any other closing thoughts?
No, I think it's pretty interesting to have now a technology in the hand, which I did my doctorate 25 years ago, and in that time I thought a lot about relations between objects because it was a three-dimensional tolerance analysis work, and my focus was not the object itself, but the relation between the objects. Now we have a relation graph database, and that's exactly the data model I talked 25 years ago. That's interesting, and it's so exciting to see what's possible right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time today, and it was wonderful, wonderful to talk.
Good. Thank you.